All right, so our topic for right now is going to be how to calculate the inverse of a matrices or matrix. So with this one, our first question is, what is an inverse? So an inverse, inverse numbers have a product of 1. And specifically for this, when we're looking at the inverse of a matrix, what it means is we're taking the function and we're seeing whether or not the system can be undone. It's kind of like one of the examples I've seen is going from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So there's a very specific formula for both of those to go back and forth, and you can reverse one or the other. So they are inverses of each other, or they can be inverted. But sometimes when we do equations, the information cannot just be reversed, which means that information is lost. So those equations don't have an inverse. And we'll go over this a little bit more in later videos, but that's just kind of a more detailed idea of what an inverse is. So to find the inverse of a matrix, we can follow this pattern below. So it's kind of this bright pattern. So we have A, B, C, D, and I want to know what the inverse is. That's what this -1 means, is I'm going to invert it. So we're going to multiply 1 over the determinant. So remember, determinant means we cross multiply. So A times B and A times D and B times C, those cross multiplying, and we subtract those two pieces. So that was back from when we were doing the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix. And then we're going to multiply that by this pattern here. So if you notice, now it's not A, B, C, D. A and D switch places, so we swap these two, and then B and C are in the same place, but now they've switched to negative. So we have to know this pattern in order to use this method. So let's go ahead and practice it. So let's find the determinant first of this matrix down here. So we're given 4, -3, 7, and -5. So this time we don't have to write it into a matrix. It's already given to us. We just have to find the inverse. So I have 4 times -5 and -7 times 3. Sorry, -3 times 7. I said that backwards. So we get -20 minus -21. So that's going to be +21, right? Because this gets us a -21. We have negative here, so it's plus. So we end up with 1. That's our determinant. And if we think about that, if it's 1 divided by 1, that's not really going to change anything, because what this would do normally is we would have to apply this fraction to every single number inside of here, but we're not going to have to do that with a 1. So dang, that went a little quick there. All right, so now we're going to take this and we're going to go A, B, C, D. This is exactly how they gave it to us, 4, 7, -3, -5. And we're going to switch the order. So we're going to swap these. 5 and -4 switch places, as we can see. And then it was -3, now it's +3. It was -7, now it's, it was +7, now it's -7. And because we'd be multiplying by 1 over 1, that doesn't change anything at all. It just stays the same. So the matrix, the inverse is -5, 3, -7, and 4. All right, so that was kind of the basic introduction to inverses. We will come back to that in later videos. I hope that helped, and I will see you on the next video.